Hi, lovelies. Welcome back to your safe space for all things self-care, self-love, and personal development. Anyways, today's topic, as you can see from the title, is about splitting things 50-50 in a relationship. I think that this topic is a very interesting one because it's really been triggered by the whole equality talk, and then many men going on about, okay, you want to be equal to men. Now let's talk about breaking things financially 50-50 in everything, right? But that's not even really what I want to talk about because I don't always usually grace those kind of conversations with any kind of attention. But then there's also been the conversation of Michelle Obama in the promotions of her book where she's gone on interviews, and then she spoke about how in her relationship with Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama, how things were not always like 50-50 with them in terms of like emotional investment at a point. Sometimes one person is doing 70%, one other person is doing 30%, and vice versa. And I think that generally, like, that felt like a, you know, duh moment, like for me, like, yeah, that seemed obvious. But different people, made this into a conversation, and it brought up a lot of things for different people. I think it brought up some really, really interesting things. As you know, social media is a place where people never tire to talk about relationship, romantic relationship. Every single day, they want to talk about it. I saw the post and I've been thinking about this. I've had the conversations with like two of my friends in different contexts where we've talked about this whole 50-50 thing and what it means, like emotionally or even financially. So let's break it down. So keep watching, make sure to subscribe and like the video. And yeah. La 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 la. For the conversation, I think that there's a very worrying thing that people do on social media where young people or even people in general, you come online and then once you see a video or you see somebody say something, you then apply whatever this person has said to your own life, not thinking about the self-awareness of what you need in your own life, what your own unique situation might be. Even if it's not totally unique, it is still unique because we are not the same people, right? You don't have the same relationship, this is not the same partner that you have as this person that is making a video or that is saying whatever, right? I did this tweet on my own page. If you follow my Instagram, which you should, follow my Instagram, I did this post about 50-50 and what Chimamanda said about it in her book, Dear GRWM, when Chimamanda was advising her friend on how to raise her daughter to be feminist. She was like, doesn't have to be like a note by note, like a task by task, like a tick of, okay, this is what you've done, this is what I've done, okay, you, like, it doesn't have to be like a track by track thing. You would know when things are equal by the lack of resentment, right? I thought that was very interesting because it's true. When things are not equal, it might be that somebody else is doing something else. I have my own strength, I'm doing something else, right? Somebody else is handling this, I'm handling this in a relationship. If it doesn't feel equal, like somebody's carrying the weight more than the other person, and that makes sense because if, for example, we're both carrying like furniture, right? We both need to lift this furniture from one point to the other. I don't need to check how much you're lifting. All I know is that I'm lifting more, and so I'm feeling resentful of how much of this weight I'm carrying to the other spot. If it's equal, I wouldn't be so resentful. Either we divide that by our strengths, when who's lifting what higher, who has more strength, who is whatever. I don't know if that analogy makes sense to you, but just basically, if we're both lifting it equally, if it is equal, there would not be any resentment if we're lifting it according to our own unique strength. I think that the conversation is a very interesting one. And when I made this tweet, my friend, wanted to engage me in the conversation, and she's like, many men these days want to go 50-50, even on dates, even on every single thing that she's been out with. Like, she's been out before and she saw a couple where the wife was trying to buy a single bar of chocolate when the husband was trying to buy some things, and the husband literally put like a margin in between what he was buying and what she was buying. I was like, that is on your own account. I'm like, over a bar of chocolate, what screams resentment more than that? And I'm paying all of this, and so I wouldn't even like, probably like resentment on his own part, resentment that would also grow in her from like, you can't buy me a bar of chocolate, and even like, just like, that relationship is in shambles, a bar of chocolate. And that's like, some people run a lot of check and balance in the relationship. They can't do things for each other. It just made it so clear to me that many people just don't know how to love other people. Because I feel like, when you love somebody else, in the case of like Michelle and Barack Obama now, for example, she made it clear that they had discussed, they had agreed based on their situation, based on their goals, that this is what they want to achieve. Now, in the pursuit of whatever they wanted to achieve, his political career, what he wanted to obtain, what he wanted to achieve for all of them, right? Or maybe even for himself, but what they also enjoy from, she had to lug the load and she had to carry the weight of their relationship more than he did. And it created some friction for them, but it was what they had agreed on. It is different. they had had a conversation. I also feel like, and that also led to the conversation I had with my other friend when we talked about how a lot of people don't have conversations in their relationship. There are expectations, there's compromise, but there's no actual communication of what these expectations are. And so somebody else is falling short, somebody else is carrying it more than the others, and it's just not 50-50 romantically anymore, or it's just like somebody else is carrying it, but it's like for how long? There's no clear communication between them, right? So one of my faves, Jola, tweeted, if you like, continue retweeting Michelle Obama's relationship advice to make yourself feel better. I will shall remind you that the clown you are with is not Barack, so you better know what you are doing. You're welcome. Don't mention. So when I saw that, I smiled, right? I thought that was funny. But people did come for her and was like that. There is a thing on social media where people say, where people imply that whoever you are with is what determines what you should take. Like, oh, because I am with, for example, Barack, and so I should be grateful for whatever I get, and so any man should not be able to treat me anyhow. Any clown I'm with should not be able to treat me anyhow. But Barack can, be lazy in a relationship. Let me be clear that Michelle Obama also made it clear that in a relationship, she made it as an ultimatum that they had to visit a therapist when things were getting strained for them. But all of these were not the clips that were circulating on social media. People only saw the conversation of just 50-50. They don't see the end of like, oh, since she was carrying 70-30, how invested was he to also carry some of this weight with her when she brought it to his attention, how much inequality was going on that might lead to resentment in their relationship. Someone else now came for Jola right now and was like that. What you want to say is that Michelle made sacrifices and compromised for a man who is worth it. Make sure your partner is worth the compromises and sacrifices before you decide to make them. See, you don't have to postulate that people are dating clowns to pass your message. Wow. Okay. So yes, that's exactly what I was saying in terms of like make sacrifices for who is worth it. Have an agreement between the both of you. I think when two people sit down and discuss their strengths romantically, and when they discuss their strengths emotionally, financially, and whatever circumstances, right, they are able to play to these things. Even when one person is carrying the weight more than the other person, because that happens, right? I can see, for example, that COVID had a strain COVID had a strain on a lot of people's relationships. I'm a very much of a out of sight, out of mind. Even like for friendships and everything, I would care about the other person, but if I don't see you all the time, it makes me feel strained, and I kind of like move on from people. And so during that COVID period, where I couldn't see a lot of people, my relationships were strained. Friendships, relationships were strained. My friends and I were not really talking as much. All of us were dealing with our own things internally. We were struggling. My partner and I, there was some distance between us because we're just not used to not seeing ourselves for that amount of period. Do you get? And so people are different, people react differently to things, but actual communication of like, this is who I am. I've made it very clear that I'm a very out of sight, out of mind person. You have to check on me. When I reach out to you, you have to be available. If not, I will throw you away. And so I made that clear from the beginning. And so it is easy for when somebody else is carrying the weight to then bring it to my attention that, because of this situation that we're in, you are slacking. And I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. How can I work towards carrying this together so that we can balance things, right? Ha. So someone else said, I honestly don't think people should internalize a marriage where the husband was president of the United States, as in the wife knew what was his dream from jump and stuck beside him and everything that came with it. I just don't think it's the same as whatever you got going on. Valid. Right? And this person said this because a lot of people like to say, oh, Michelle Obama said that she's carrying 70-30. So I must crush under the weight of these things I'm carrying for my boyfriend that doesn't care about me because Michelle Obama is doing this for Barack. Someone else said Michelle Obama said we have to prepare for years-long stretches of discomfort in romantic partnership, and baby, I am not. People came for and was like, what do you expect? That do you always expect a relationship to always be comfortable, not to have any moment of discomfort at all? I think that's not possible. Even at your work, no matter how much you love your job, there will be high strain periods. There will be, Q4, for example, December period. I fully expect to be crushed under the weight of all the events and all the activities I have to do this December at work. That does not mean, if I was in a great job, like that does not mean that, oh, I don't love the job or anything. They're just moments of like discomfort, moments of like strain. Things happen, right? Generally. If this person says that she's not ready for that, that is for her. So someone responded to that girl and was talking about that if you're going to live a life, with somebody year in and year out for decades, there'll be times when things will be when you'll be out of sync, and that the idea that romantic relationships will just always be comfortable is just not possible. And then someone said that, and she has the self-awareness to admit that she's not prepared for that life, right? And why should anyone want years long periods of discomfort? We can't even tolerate that from our friends, let alone someone we'll be living with. Sounds miserable when I can just stay single. I think that's something else, like for some people, right? Sometimes people don't want to accept that they can just stay single if you're not going to be able to carry the weight of balancing things. I don't always say I'm very much of a, oh yeah, let's do things 50-50, right? I don't want somebody else to feel like, oh, they're crushed under the weight of this relationship, either financially or emotionally or whatever. I want to be able to chip in whatever my 50% is. Now, bear in mind now, like my friend was very, very eager to remind me, a lot of women, that's why we're fighting for equality, right? A lot of women are shortchanged, even like financially. At work, they are not paid the same. There are all kinds of gender gap issues that we're dealing with, right? And so it is just not possible for a woman to do exactly 50% of what a man is doing. There's cases where women earn more and all of that, but that is very much still in a minority across the world, right? And I said that's very relevant, which is why I think that in whatever relationship, you guys will agree, you guys will discuss what is fair for me to contribute. This is what is fair for you to contribute. If that is financially, if it is emotionally, this is the kind of person I am. This is the kind of things that you need. This is how I can carry the weight of the relationship. This is how you can carry it and we can do more. You like to do this, I will do more of this to make you feel good. You know, chipping in all of these ways to make sure your love language is satisfied. That you to make sure that I am loving you in the way that you want to, romantically, emotionally, financially, whatever. But a lot of people don't have these conversations, right? And so she's saying that if you have this self awareness to know that you're not prepared for the kind of relationship that Michelle Obama is doing, why would anybody want to deal with long periods of discomfort in a relationship? And I was like, and she's like, these people don't expect that in friendships. Which, by the way, I do. I have. There was a time my friends and I, my three very best friends from uni, we're just not really in contact like that. There was just like a whole thing. We're dealing with our own internal. Well, three of us are girls that we like to talk a lot. We discuss every time we get together. We discuss what's going on with us, how we can grow. But also, whenever we're struggling with things, sometimes we just like come up with ourselves. And there was a period where each of us were going through that. My friend was even like, she was talking to me the other day and she was like, when this person was going through her own thing, I didn't understand why she wouldn't talk to us. But now that I'm going through it, I just understand how she felt now. She didn't understand until she was in her shoes this year from what had happened from 2 years ago. When my friend was going through that, and even right now, as my friend is going through her own now, I know when to be there for her. I know when to reach out to her. I know when to give her space. Just because we understand each other, we know, we've communicated how this person adapts certain situations. That is a period of discomfort where it's like, what can I do for you? I don't know what I can do for you. And so I have to carry the weight of me always checking on that other person because I know that person is going through a lot and can't check on me as much. The relationship of calling is not 50-50 between my friend and I during this period where she's struggling or dealing with this situation because she's going through her own thing. That doesn't mean that she does not love me or that she's not invested in a relationship. She's just going through a lot right now. So I don't think that's valid that doesn't happen in friendships. It happens very much in my friendships. I don't know about you. Please let me know if it happens in your friendships too. But I think it's normal. I just realized that I am rapping a lot. Whenever I get excited, I'm talking about something that I find interesting. I rap a lot. But yeah, I hope you can hear me, please. Okay, so I saw this person now. This person said, I've seen a lot of comments about this and I got to give my 2 cents. Marriage is a lot of work, but if you're not comfortable with who you are and who your partner is, and if you can't talk to each other about what bothers you and what's uncomfortable, it probably won't work. Exactly what I said. One person would always at some point kind of like feel like they've tapped out, you get, and they're just going through whatever they're going through. It's normal. Even no matter what it is, the job that you love, the interest that you have. I used to love reading so much. If you see me now, I'm not as loyal to reading as I used to be. I am not giving my books the 50-50 that they deserve. I am not reading them as much as I should be or as I used to. I have so many movies and shows on my Netflix list. Before, I used to watch 3 shows together. I was talking about on my Instagram recently, I was watching The Good Place, The Good Fight, and what's it called? The Good Doctor, all at the same time. And now I can barely go through how many. I watched The Crown for 2 seasons. I had a good time. That was season 3, 4, 5. I moved on something else too full of the time instead. And I'm watching them so slowly. I have not given my Netflix 50-50. You get Netflix is reminding me you have all of these shows. I have too many shows to watch, and I am not giving that interest, that hobby, the 50-50 that it deserves. Khalid, God. And that's why I like this tweet by Ozzy Tomi that says, the truth we don't want to hear is that when you meet your people, that means my aura recognizes yours, my soul matches yours. It's easy. Relationships are not always easy, yes, but that thing, that baseline is a no-brainer. when you have that baseline of just like a connection, it is easier for people. And I think that's very interesting. And that's very true. Once you people, once you are with somebody that you guys already aligned, they want to do the things that please you. You want to do the things that please them. It is easy for there to be equality in that relationship, because once somebody else is, it's easy to just be like, this person would always listen to what I have to say. This person would always care about what I want to say. And so whatever it is, they will always feel like there's equality in this relationship because I matter to this person matters to me. Period. Every other thing is semantics, every other thing can be worked out, every other thing can be discussed and agreed upon so that both parties are happy. Or if you're in a polyamorous relationship, all parties are happy. My friend shared this very interesting tweet with me, and it says a cool Black Mirror episode would be about a store that lets you build a partner, like build a bear, and then shows how people dealt with their perfect partner and how many characteristics they forgot to add, but how sometimes what you think you want isn't at all what you actually like. So that was a very interesting one. Let me know what you think. I won't say anything, but let me know what you think. I think people should very much, understand who you're with, right? And communicate. If you're with somebody that does not intend to carry any weight at all in your relationship, already from the baseline, the foundation is already unequal. It cannot work, regardless of who you're dating, who you're married to. And obviously, I feel like I don't know if I acknowledged it. It is not possible for what's it called, a relationship, no matter how many chores or whatever it is that you split or financial splitting that you may do, for it to be equal, especially if you intend to raise a family. The woman, it will always be unequal. It will always be crushing for the woman, because the woman will give birth, she would lose herself for a period of time when she has given birth and has to raise the kids to like 2 to 3 years. She would slow down on her career. Just like Michelle spoke about, she had to take the foot off, take her leg off the gas, like on her career, like not totally break, not totally stop, but slow down. So a woman will have to slow down and suffer in that way in her career for that period in time, right? So, and our finances will also suffer during that period, right? Our body will suffer from the changes that she's going through. Mentally, she will suffer. There's this funny TikTok about all the things that can happen to you when you're pregnant. And so for that already, it is not 50-50 for the woman. And so we're not going off of the chance of like, okay, what do you want to as a woman, if you're the kind of person that wants, you have that relationship again where you want to contribute financially, right? Or even like having the conversation of contributing emotionally. Your emotions are in riots during this period. Hormones are playing with you. You are experiencing something that you haven't experienced before. If it's your first pregnancy, or even generally, pregnancies differ. You might have a good pregnancy the first time around, not have a very good one the second time around. It can happen. Some women have near death experiences when, in fact, pregnancy itself is a near death experience, but some women get closer to death than others during pregnancy. So it very much differs. I feel like people should not just come online and generalize. Think about it, have some self awareness. What can I take? What can I do? Does this work for me? What do I expect in my partner? This is what I expect of you in my partner. This is what we will need to compromise to be with each other. And this is what we would need to sustain our relationship. This is what we've agreed on. When the other person slacks, you are slacking in this so-called way, and I need you to pick up, because it then feels unequal in this relationship. And I am feeling some resentment growing, honey. So you need to then discuss that. If it's not working out, goodbye. Goodbye. If it's not working out, goodbye. Do what's good for you. And that was something else I discussed with my friend about how, she always used to just break her back for men. She was like that. She would always break her back, put herself, make herself uncomfortable, go out of her way for the man, just because, like, that's what women are raised to do, right? And but like, men would always choose themselves, and so she's learning to choose herself, even when it feels like, oh, people will accuse her of saying, oh, you expect a man to do this, you expect a man to do that, you're a gold digger. She's like, this is what feels equal for me. This is what I consider to be equal. If you are into that, then you're into that. And I feel like, what is 50-50? It's not mass, it's a relationship. Human behavior literally makes it a social science, not a full science. Does that make sense? And so it cannot be calculated as, okay, I drop two, you drop two, and so that's what's equal. Figure out what feels equal to you. Figure out what feels 50-50 to you, and then hold yourselves up to it. Accountability. Anyway, I hope that makes sense to you, and I would love to hear your thoughts about it. Please let me know. Comment. You guys don't comment anymore. It's making me sad. Comment and let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel. Let me know, your thoughts, and we would love to carry this conversation on. Please make sure to like and share this video with whoever you think will find it interesting also, or even anybody that just forced them to watch me. Thank you all and have a good week.